Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Amalgam Ash, and this is The Study, a game made in RPG developer Bakin by Amalgam Ash and submitted to CompanionWulf's Halloween 2024 Game Jam, even though I'm a judge for that jam, and it's auto-disqualified. But this is not something I normally do. I normally do not provide gameplay or Let's Plays of my own projects. This time, I wanted to make an exception, because when I started this project, I started the devlog series for this project, and that didn't work. I recorded a good 40 minutes of my development. I talked about all the concepts that I had, and kind of left off on the maps and some of the functionality. And then I backed out and looked at my recording, and my microphone had automatically assigned itself to not be the source that I was using, so I didn't have any audio at all, whatsoever, none. And I don't upload videos of just like random devlog stuff that doesn't have sound. So I decided to table that and catch up on other stuff, and before you know it, my time was about done. But anyways, this will provide you with a sort of retrospective of what my submission was going to be if I had been able to devote more time to it. I had scoped it out, I think, fairly well, so I had varying stages of completion that I could have submitted this in. They all would have been considered fairly complete and fine to play. But we'll just talk to the only NPC right here. Hello, I'm Ash. That's me. This is Ash, directly speaking through the cute sprite, kind of like a telephone. Anyway, I wanted to put together a game for CompanionWulf's Afterlife-themed jam, and ended up just getting too busy to devote my time to making it the way I had envisioned. This is always a shame, but I want to practice what I preach, that any submission you can make is better than none. So this is a tour of what would have been. I present to you The Study. The Study is about, well, it's not about anything exactly. The story was to be told through action instead of dialogue and introductory text, and with the descriptions of items, and maybe it's better that I show you. The map we're in right now is where the story begins. This is a laboratory, unfinished naturally, where you would be tasked with entering a plane of existence thought to be the afterlife. A small team of scientists embark on timed journeys to this plane. After confirming that you are ready, we would then go to this plane. So, are you ready? Sure. Yep, just like that. Let's go. And they both give you the same result, no matter which one you pick there. It's a gotcha. And here we are. Well, whatever here is. You see, I had a vision of creating a sort of landscape where everything was merged. You have a neighborhood, a little bit of forest, a field, a maze, a modern city. Just a lot of stuff. A bit orderly in places, but topsy-turvy in others. So I planned to fill this 50 by 50 map with all of the scenery, and then I'd begin a timer. Meet me to the east, and I'll explain more. So, you're meant to, you can a little bit, sort of kind of explore around you. But I'd really rather you follow the directions. So I've got some random placement of stuff going down. Didn't put that model all the way to the ground, things like that. Is that metal all the way to the ground? Is it touching by the cloth? Never mind. Never mind. We're not here to test play anymore. And you'd go, marvel at the sights, and then you'd check out the next NPC. You made it. So this was more going to be an exercise in creative map making for me, which I struggle with. In fact, for the game I plan to make commercially at some point in the future, Depraven or Project D, I commissioned the first set of maps to be created. Those maps are still in my Bakin Games folder for the project, which hasn't grown very much. Project D or Depraven, I did commission a set of maps from Cynicmusic. I want to say early last year, and they're put together and they look fantastic. And the game's beginning could very much be set up with those maps. But I haven't done anything yet because I'm still looking at the update cadence. I'm looking at the updates given, and I don't want to make a project that breaks because of an update. I'm terrified of that. So it's still there. It's still there. It's not going away. But anyway, I feel I need to improve my map design skill, go more east to continue this conversation. And we've got one tile of carpet, edge carpet. Glad you aren't getting lost. There'll be plenty of time to explore. Unlike the planned game where I'd give you about 3 minutes, that wasn't yet really decided, and I'd let you explore as much as you wanted before forcing the game to return you to the laboratory. What would then happen is you'd be asked a series of questions, two kinds. Access questions like what color was the sky, or was the giant tree to the east there, or was it cut down? And you'd have to answer these correctly depending on your observation. You only had a few minutes to get the info. here, and you wouldn't know what would be asked because the questions would be random every time, so it was a little luck-based, but if you were astute in your observations, you could proceed. Head to the left a little and follow the broken road north to meet me again, and I'll explain a little more about the second type of question. Now, you can explore the areas just a little bit, although the water is going to block you. So, we head to the east, or the north rather, not the east, Ash. Wah! Talk to the cute sprite. I'm glad you made it. So after exploring, I have typos everywhere in here, for 2 to 5 minutes, you'd be teleported back and asked a verification question. I have typos in my speech too. Did you hear that? If you pass this test, you'd then be asked several survey questions, selected at random from a pool of questions. These questions would be based on your findings in this world, as well as asking you your perspective on things. Some of the questions were pertinent to the game, others just to feed one's sense of enjoying being asked questions, if you like that. Example, do you think you drank enough water before heading into the plane? Or what is your emotion right now? These questions also served another function, to make the player aware of what they thought they might have missed. Such a question would look like, did you find the child's amulet? Game-relevant questions would only trigger if you did find certain items or spots hidden in chests throughout the land. These might be structured like which path did you take through the wood, and how many chests did you open? I'll be to the west. Did you open? If you'd like to continue, and we'll touch on the restrictions planned. So it can't fall because I didn't add the fall mechanic. So we have to step off the ledges. But I did test play this, and I just could not be bothered to change so many of the settings. So we don't even have collision in the mountains, so we'll just head on through. Open the chests if you want. They all have the same 50 gold in them. What? That was weird. That was very weird. You can't use the gold for anything, so not going to worry about it. Although in retrospect, I should have put like exactly 10 chests all around the map, and I should have had the character be like, if you want to buy something from the character over there, you can buy the credits. Hey, sorry for the terrain and object spam and for the railroading, which is what that sort of force guiding is called. I don't want you to get lost, but maybe you noticed that I didn't place any restrictions on the camera control. You can actually try to spot where I'll be next from where we are. Anyway, and I will try to do that. I think there's something interesting about opening chests. Don't you feel like they have a psychological effect on the player? If you opened any of the chests on the way here, you collected gold, maybe you wondered if you should have even bothered opening all the chests. But maybe the FOMO kicked in and you just had to have them all. For my game idea, I wanted to put everything the player could collect in chests, but I played with the idea of only letting them have a certain number of items they could hold, so they'd have to control the impulse to open everything. I want to talk more about what would be in the chests, so meet me further south. See? Do you see? You see the character? Where's Waldo? And then we have some girly furniture that I liked that I wanted to place on the map for no reason at all. I really wanted to make a game that told multiple threads of stories only through its item descriptions. If a player wanted to speedrun the game, they could probably complete it in about a minute, but they'd either be blind running hundreds of times or they'd have to pay attention to the item descriptions and piece together the context. For example, I wanted to have keepsakes in some chests that would refer to a person by their description, then actual memories in others. You might ask how a memory would take on a physical form. In the context of this game in the jam, the answer is, this isn't a physical realm. In fact, well, meet me to the east and I'll explain more. Let's go to the east. We are actually, we have already revealed this is thought to be the afterlife in the intro of this demo. As you play, you'd be coaxed into discovering that the plane of existence these scientists are checking into is actually the afterlife. Perhaps this would be suspect right from the beginning. Wow, the typos. Or with the very first artifact you'd find, but you'd begin to piece together, hopefully, that all of the belongings and memories you found would relate to the people who owned them in one specific way, namely their demise. And if you chanced to collect all the possessions of just one particular character, say the widow, you'd unlock information about her in the post-game, after you leave the plane here and go back to the lab. So the game would then be over, but repeated research would yield deeper gameplay loops, and I was just at the point of thinking of ways to preserve this information for repeated playthroughs, when I realized I no longer had time to make the game. Follow the water to its end, and we'll speak more. Let's go follow this water. Let's go follow this water. Tippy, tippy, tap, along. Tippy, tippy, tap, along. Tippy, tippy, tap, along. Tippy, tap, along the water, Ideal. The player would collect proof that the plane contained memories or manifestations of possessions that the departed had, and would return to the lab to confirm that the subjects being discovered did indeed pass away at varying times throughout history. Some would be villagers who perished from a 16th century plague in America, others from a war in the ancient Far East, still others who suffered from choking on a biscuit in London last week. And the data behind the scenes might be used to change the landscape of the plane. To the east. Don't ask me why I put a bunch of girly posters here, and as long as you don't ask me, I won't tell you. Deal? To the east. We're clonking our clompy clogs onto the wooden floors. You'd be surprised how loud footsteps can be, I tell you. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't get into the menu. I thought I disabled menu access. So the true end of the game, there really wouldn't be, or at least I didn't get that far. You discover that this was the afterlife, or at least an afterlife, or maybe even just a fractured part of one, or several patchworked together, or stacked together like pancakes, or just something out of a fever dream. Or maybe it would be perfection and peace, but we're not in it. We're only invading for research purposes. Never mind how we get here, or what strange science allows it. And so the presentation of it is affected by our own perception, imperfect as it is. And that's why research is important, and answering the questions truthfully when you get back as the scientists gather more and more data. Perhaps the mechanism by which you return after the timer can work for those who have departed as well, bringing anyone back. But that's a subject for another game, another jam, another day. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this strange way of presenting the game that would not be. If you'd like to use this concept to expand on your own game, or wish to adapt the whole thing for a new project, I wholeheartedly encourage it. I would love to see what anyone comes up with. In a way, this concept would then live on in the afterlife of this project. But until then, I wish you a fantastic rest of your day, and bye for now. And that's not the outro to this video, but that is the outro to The Study, a game by moi for CompanionWulf's Fall Jam. And yeah, I did have a couple of credits, not really meaningful maybe, but I did want to put a thank you out there. Thanks to CompanionWulf for hosting the jam, because for no specific reason, it just incited me to join and submit something. Like I really had to get in here and do something. And I, in my mind, thought I'm going to go as simple as possible. And of course that didn't work. Of course that didn't work at all. I was like expanding concepts and doing mechanics, and I'm like, yeah, it can be simple, but it doesn't have to be unfun. It can still be very different of an experience for every person that plays it. And I just fell right into the never-ending deep crevasse of scale creep, even though the game doesn't have any reason to have scale creep, even though the concept doesn't invite anything more than just exploration and storytelling that is done through environmental cues. So anyways, that's The Study. And it's a study on a lot more than just the NPCs studying the afterlife. It's my study of my own gameplay design habits. It's the study of what might be good out of submitting a project to a game jam that is incomplete. And this video is now a part of that study with an additional study element. The study of how well a video might do on YouTube if it just rambles completely on and on about this sort of nonsense. So anyways, I've been Amalgam Ash. I will continue to be Amalgam Ash, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.